Hey folks, Dennis here with Grizzly Gold Trap. Today we're going to sit there and show you a video on setting up the Nugget sluice. The Nugget sluice is very similar to the Explorer, but it's only 26 inches, 26 and a half inches long. Great for backpacking. So we want to sit there and show you the setup, operations, and running the Nugget sluice. Let's do it.
When setting up any of the Grizzly Gold Trap sluices, it is important to identify setup locations with adequate flow levels. The sluices do not require heavy flow rates. In fact, we'll be setting up the Nugget and later the mother lode about 6 feet off the bank we are viewing now. I would consider this average flow conditions. Water depths here are about 8 to 10 inches deep. I have lined up a few larger rocks to be positioned along both sides of the sluice. This will hold the Nugget in place. I am also moving around rocks that will be under the sluice, setting its depth in the water. Since the Grizzly Gold Trap sluices only need about 5 to 6 inches of water to run, I am placing a large flat rock under the upper end of the transport deck to set its depth. This rock also prevents water from flowing under the sluice, which helps reduce water pressure lifting the sluice upwards. I can now place the sluice between the row of rocks on the sides, sliding the rocks against the sides of the Nugget and adding other rocks to hold the sluice in place. If the sluice is rising up, you can set the edges of a few rocks just over the top of the sluice's sidewall to help hold it down. Do not set rocks across the top of the sluice to hold it in place, as this will restrict 2 to 4 inch rocks from moving down the transport deck as you feed unclassified material. Looking at the setup from the side, you can see the transport deck is about 7 degrees angle. This places the angle of the capture chamber at only 3.5 degrees. With a 3.5 degree difference between the transport deck and the capture chamber. Typically I set up the sluices so that the water level is approximately 1/4 to 1/2 inch from the top of the sidewall where it enters the sluice. Looking at the top-down view, you can see a V in the water that extends about 3/4 the distance down the transport deck. A distinct V of this length down the deck is a good indicator of adequate flow to process unclassified material. Proper feed rate of any unclassified material into any type of sluice is critical to capturing a high percentage of gold. With the Nugget's shorter transport deck, shake the shovelfuls of unclassified materials onto the transport deck at about the rate shown here. This feed rate allows the material to begin stratifying as it travels down the deck, through the grizzlies and into the capture chamber. The proper feed rate also helps prevent material pileups on the grizzlies. Some rocks, especially flat ones, may hang up on the grizzlies, but you can simply push them off with your hand or tip of the shovel. Notice the 1 to 4 inch rocks in this shovelful easily clearing the grizzlies. If small gravel gets caught between the grizzly bars, simply push them with your fingers down towards the sampling riffles to clear. Remember, if your flow rates are less than what you see here, then your feed rates of material is going to have to be a little bit slower in order to sit there and accommodate for lower flows in the water. The sampling riffles are designed to temporarily trap gold long enough for you to identify if the material has gold in it. At any time, you can clear the riffles by simply waving your fingers through the water above the riffles. You can then shovel more materials onto the deck and see if you are still in the pay streak. Clean out of the Grizzly Trap sluices is fast and easy. Simply clear away a few of the rocks on the sides, placing your hands under both sides of the sluice and lifting upwards, slightly tilting it downward to empty water out of the lower chamber. Place the capture chamber end into a 5-gallon bucket filled with water and plunge the chamber up and down a few times. Keep it tilted slightly to allow the material to empty out. Remember to splash water onto the riffles to wash the gold and black sands held there. Place the gold trap back into the river. Reset your levels. And continue processing more material. The amount of material emptied from the Nugget's capture chamber is typically about 4 to 4.5 cups of material. This image shows the amount of black sands captured. The location of the setup video was selected for ease of videotaping. However, in those few shovelfuls of materials, we actually found some decent color in our cleanout. So that ends the video. Good luck prospecting and happy pan stall.